All right, another episode of the More To It podcast. I am the host, Jay Moore, with Hell Varsity Magazine, hellvarsity.com, and I am joined by a fellow former teammate of mine, Mr. Corey McKeon, Naperville's finest. My man, how you doing?
Doing great. Well, second to Sean Hill from Naperville. Shout out.
We are. I came over. It's blizzarding in the middle of April right now.
Unbelievable.
Unreal. But pretty good timing. We're sitting down in your nice bar in your basement. Just opened up a beautiful bottle of the West Cork single malt Irish whiskey, aged 10 years. A nice little find you found at the Still here in town.
Good people.
Yeah, really good people. Great people. That place has got to be killing it right now, by the way.
If you see my bank statements, it's absolutely killing it right now.
The still. Yeah, I mean, this is the times we're in right now.
I'm just happy to see someone. I'm glad you're here.
I know. I mean, hey, it's less than 10 people, and we're about 4 feet apart. We got to do the things for sound purposes, production and all those good things. But this is good.
Should we get 6 feet apart? Or is this gonna get us in trouble? Ricketts is a Husker guy.
Yeah,
he's all right.
Whatever. It's fine. But so we're sitting down here, and we have the 2002 Mainstay Independence Bowl on. This was my true freshman year. I'd redshirted in one of, I don't know if you can find a worse spot than Shreveport, Louisiana for a bowl game.
Oh, it looks awful.
It was. I got the flu there. I was so sick. Nothing to do. You weren't 21 yet. Even like that ever mattered when you went on a bowl trip. Anyways,
not for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's. But being said, but there you couldn't. They had a couple casinos, and that was it. And guys even that were of age to go out, they're like, this is terrible. There's nothing to do. So
it's kind of nuts that this is on because I just visited the university on my official visit while they were preparing for this bowl game, and all of the guys were complaining about going down there.
Well, that's what you get when you go 7-7 after you just played for a national championship the year before.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a downslope from the year before.
Just a little bit. Who was your host on your official visit?
Bad dude Barrett Ruud.
Oh boy, he's playing in this.
It was great. He was one of the big reasons I came because I sat there and he was a true freshman?
Or
was he second year?
He was a true sophomore. He played as a true freshman the year before.
But I remember that being a big thing. This guy can come in and play.
That was unheard of.
It was crazy.
You would just get you'd get a running back, you might get a receiver, maybe a tight end. I mean, Matt Herring was in my recruiting class. I mean, if he doesn't get hurt, he might go down as one of the greatest tight ends in Nebraska history.
Smooth. He was tough.
He was really good.
Tough to guard.
But it's play as a true freshman the next level in college. I mean, that's people do that, and then you get D linemen and linebackers and offensive linemen do it. You're like, whoa, that's like a generational type.
Well, Richie
talent.
Incognito,
correct?
True freshman.
Yep. Yeah, man, this is just funny. We're just watching this. This brings back some. I can't even say good memories. I mean, that place is. I mean. This is too good. How you been, man?
Doing well.
Yeah.
Got golf season coming up. I mean, no spring game. Spring game's supposed to be this weekend. We'd normally be competing in our alumni golf tournament to lose to the women's golf team like we do every freaking year.
Well, they stack it up.
Those girls last year said that they took
it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Right.
They beat everyone by at least 5 strokes. And they said that every time they had a birdie, they all took a shot, which we know is BS because they were 18 under.
Right.
And they would have been pulling into the wrong clubhouse.
Yeah. At the end. You're Ubering home from Corey Oaks.
If you're doing 8,
no, God no.
There's one Uber. Nowhere for the golf clubs.
Oh man, hey, I mean, this is what Corey and I do best. We love bullshitting and drinking whiskey, bullshitting, watching old Nebraska football games.
This is like my highlight film.
Right.
It would be a lot worse than this.
I couldn't. I need a VCR to put my highlight tape. Do you have yours on DVD?
They're right here actually. I got all the games, just in case someone wants to test you.
Okay, I like that.
You just go and throw the highlight film on and prove that you had at least one tackle.
You do. That's a good idea. I need to do that. I do have some Husker. My high school highlight. That's for sure on VHS, which I'm sure you can get a VCR anymore.
Nope. Amazon.
Maybe. I don't even know if they're right. So you're being a Chicago guy, how pumped are you for this Sunday with the release of The Last Dance on the 30 for 30?
Well, I'm excited. Like we growing up in Chicago, and now you play golf at a lot of the clubs that Jordan's a big golf guy.
Right.
Sean Hill has some great stories of playing in some foursomes right behind him. And you hear the stories about how competitive and really how big of a dickhead he is. He mixes it with humor, but at the end of the day, I think the biggest difference between him and Kobe Bryant never turned off the dickheadness, but right. Jordan, he would start to joke a little bit about it, but only after he was beating you.
Sure.
So I think a lot of those stories about him are going to come to light, and it's going to be interesting. I've got it DVR'd, all 400 episodes of it that are coming out. It's going to take up 8 hours
for like 6 years.
Yeah, but most people think it's going to take up like 8 hours of their life. I'll watch it at least a dozen times, just like the Avengers. So yeah, it's going to take up quite a bit of time for me. I'm excited. I mean, that was for the kids now, the 2000 kids. I was a 90s kid, so right. The Bulls were big time.
I want to ask you. I mean, I imagine it was the same for me back here watching Nebraska football.
Absolutely.
Play for national championships. You got to witness.
Same timing.
I mean, but you got to witness 6 championships.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy Frazier's got to retire for a year and go play baseball and come back.
Right.
Emotional roller coaster of my life. I mean, I still remember as a kid getting tickets to a playoff game, and the Bulls end up sweeping, and we went to that game 4, and it looked like the Bulls weren't even trying. Like they beat them.
They were so good.
They were so good. They beat them, and they just walked off. They shaked hands, walked off the court, like, all right, on to the next. And in terms of dynasties, I saw a list. God, I wish Nick Baugh was here to argue with me. But there was like a 60s into the 70s type dynasty for Boston. And then Shaq goes yesterday and says that his 3-peat team would beat them. Lakers, I think that would have been a great competition.
That'd have been good, but I
think Shaq thinks if Shaq is as good as Shaq thinks, he would have had a lot more rings. I mean, that's just the truth. As powerful and as big and as injury free as he was, sure. I mean, he really didn't do much without a big supporting cast. First he had Kobe Bryant,
right,
and then he had Dwayne Wade.
I mean, he was the years with the Magic. They get somewhat deep in the playoffs, but I think they made the finals. But they'd always, that was Akeem and those Rockets teams. But
they're still. I mean, if you're the player that you think you are, and you had the teams that you thought you did, you should make those wins.
Did you see Shaq's boat? What he calls it?
Free throw,
because it never sinks.
Just brilliant. The guy looks like a giant on a pontoon boat that sits about 20 people.
Right,
he sits in the driver's seat and it's bending to the rim. That's great.
That is too good. So let's go back a little bit. Let's relive our glory days when we're at Nebraska, and take me through your recruiting experience coming to Nebraska. Why Nebraska? And I know you had a lot of offers because. Wisconsin was your heavy way in that one, but why Nebraska for Corey McKeon?
Going through the process, and for people that know me know that my dad was my head coach, and he had gone through the process of recruiting. We had a lot of big stars that went to my high school, none bigger than me, but some big ones.
Hey guys, just get used to this while you're listening. Don't stop listening. Just get used to this. Corey
gets worse. So he had known the process, but at the end of the day, we had a good game plan. I think we wanted to visit like one school from each, the school I liked the best from each conference. And I really had my hopes set on Wisconsin. I went to camp up there. They'd showed me a lot of love early. I visited Miami of Ohio. My dad actually had a friend who was coaching there. So we went over there, and actually Ben Roethlisberger was my host. So that was pretty cool.
Big Ben, nice.
And I've never thrown up more in the corner of a bar. At that age. And then when it was time to come to the University of Nebraska, I was being recruited by Jeff Javory. You remember Jeff?
Yeah.
Good coach, but great recruiter.
Right, really good.
And he did a lot for our organization in terms of managing the team. And when I came on my visit, it felt like every other visit that I went on, both official and non-official, they were really trying to impress you nonstop. And it was just this after this. And what the University of Nebraska did that spoke to me was they didn't speak. They let the tradition and they let the organization kind of speak for itself. And when you get a host like Barrett Ruud and the guy goes, I know you've been on a bunch of recruiting visits, what do you want to do? I said, I've done the whole go out thing. I kind of want to just check out the campus and get your vibe on how things are. And that's what he did. And he pumped me full of a few Rolling Rocks along the time. And we had a good time. But at the end of the day, you walk the halls at the University of Nebraska. And for people who go out and visit away schools, they go to the University of Michigan, they go travel with our team. if you get a chance to actually walk the stadiums and walk their facilities, you don't see the banners that we have, and we don't see the tradition that we had. And we were just coming fresh off a 2001 national championship appearance, and I met Barrett Ruud, and quite honestly, his demeanor and the way that he stepped in and played right away gave me hope. So I looked at a guy like that, I'm like, man, if I can ever be as good as this guy, I'll be in great shape here. And seeing that was just unbelievable. And then you meet people like Jay Moore, and it really deters you from wanting to come to a university like this. But after that, it was all gravy.
Yeah, just you're jealous of my good looks, and
I'm not going to say that's not true.
But you come in and you get to learn from the all-time leading tackle at the University of Nebraska.
That's right.
You got to follow that. I mean, it's and you followed his footsteps, and that's a tough act to follow. But you get to learn from him, and just because I wasn't in those meeting rooms with Barrett. I was doing the D-line stuff, but seeing him operate day in and day out, what were you able to take away from a guy like that?
2 things, really. Well, 3. Barrett absolutely taught me how to manage your time in terms of, hey, Corey, you're a red shirt. All you're going to have to do right now is go to class, work out, practice, and have fun.
Right.
And he said there's nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, when you come out of your redshirt year, what you should be is a lot bigger, a lot stronger, and a lot faster. And I really took that to heart. And that's when I jumped into drills. And then, with Coach K coming in, he immediately said, okay, you're going in with the DBs and going in with the running backs. And I had prepared for that from what Barrett said. But no one prepared better than Barrett. No one knew their stuff better than Barrett. Just the way he concentrated on the film and broke things down. I mean, playing behind a guy like that, even though I was on scout team, which there's nothing wrong with going to scout team.
No, did it 2 years.
That's right. And you compete against the best players in the Big 10, well, the Big 12 back then, and it gets you ready to actually see field time. So watching Barrett in the film room and talk strategy, that's what really got that big part of the game for me. I mean, if I didn't pick that up, I probably would have never saw the field unless it was based on looks, and then I would have been All-American or hair.
Oh my gosh, you're bigger than you are. You're bigger now than you played in college.
That's because I just show my biceps. That's it. I don't show my abs. I don't show my legs.
Oh my god. What I always I just got done recording a podcast with Jason Peter.
He was pretty good.
Yeah, he was all right. And I always kind of have, you call it a come to Jesus moment, like a holy shit moment. I remember being like, because when you got here, your freshman year, it was kind of what we had all through college. It was first 5 practices were singles. Then you had once you had 2 days, the next day you couldn't have another 2 a day. So it was like 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. But my first year when I got there was still old school 2 days.
Well, my first year was all 2 days, and then they changed that going into our second year.
Was it? I thought
because with Solich it was all 2 a days. That first year with Callahan it wasn't.
Right, but I thought that.
Thank God, he would have drove us into the ground.
Oh yeah, he would have. Well, he still tried to drive us in there. Yeah, he still did. I could have sworn. Anyway, but I said that like the 4th day, I remember waking up in Harper dorms. I mean, like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And like, just being like, holy shit! Like, I'm getting my head kicked in. I felt like I laid my head down on the pillow for 5 seconds, and we have to go do this again. And like, but you just did it, and I got through it. Did you ever have that moment of like, what the hell did I get myself into?
Yeah, and you were there. I mean, when Coach Callahan, and what a lot of people don't know about this story is, Coach Callahan came in, and the first thing he wanted to do was reduce the roster.
Oh yeah.
And do you remember how he did that?
Yes, I do. No, so elaborate, please.
So for the people listening, I was in the dorms. Sean Hill is my roommate. And this was the training going into spring ball. It wasn't spring ball yet.
It was winter conditioning.
Winter conditioning.
Going into his first year, yeah.
So during winter conditioning, you have 4 days of the week. You don't count the weekend. You can lift on Saturday mornings, but you have Wednesday off. But Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday is all mandatory, both weight training and speed work, conditioning work, which was tough, but it was manageable. And the strength staff and the coaches knew how to manage that. Coach Callahan comes in, And we had 200. I mean, I almost don't blame them. We had 200 plus on the roster. We didn't have numbers left.
Right.
I mean, someone was wearing 112.
Right. We had 2 locker rooms. I mean, scout team at times were like 3 deep.
That's right.
Across the board. I mean, you had a ton. I mean, it was too many. It was way too many people. I don't deter from the walk-on program. I think it's great, but you can't. It's awesome. Hard to manage and get out what you want to when you have. I mean,
you got to have a standard.
Yes.
Because what we did in the past is you would throw them a jersey, and if they could hang, they stuck.
Right.
And then it was getting to the point where it's just, well, keep your jersey. We'll throw you fourth on the scout team depth chart. You'll never even
they weren't telling people to leave. They were just
exactly. So at this point, instead of having some sort of measure, Coach Callen decides to have what we call the 2 weeks of hell.
Oh boy.
And for those of you out there who've never had any type of organized University of Nebraska workout, this is probably that times, I'm not exaggerating, 10? 5 to 10?
Yeah, I mean, by far the hardest workouts I've ever gone through. I said that was like the greatest shape I've ever been in my life. Absolutely. coming out of there.
Right before spring break, which is key.
Very key. I told Doak that. He's like, yeah, but you always think that when you do something different, you think you're in the best shape. I'm like, yeah, true, but like no one was. Nebraska, for all the years that they were really, really good, they weren't doing this, but he was just trying. I mean, I did this, my first one with Doak. I can't remember. I think he said 60-some kids quit during that week.
First week.
It was the first. Yeah, but I didn't know it was the first. But he's overall. I would have to go back and listen to it, but to make the long story short, I mean, that's what he was a weed out process. He wanted to see who really wanted to be there.
Right.
But it was. I mean, you had to be there at 4:30 in the morning, get taped.
Because so for the people. You usually at the beginning of your workout, part of it is actually the stretching.
Right.
You had to be taped and stretched by the 5 a.m.
Yep.
is when we started it.
Mm-hmm.
And there was 10 stations. The coaches were running it, not the strength staff.
There was 10, there was 10 stations, and it was just a county fair. You just rotated. And there was
and they were very difficult.
Yeah.
And then
one break built in.
Yes. And then if at the end of it, I remember the first time I was on the verge of throwing up.
Only time I've ever thrown up from working out. Only time.
Really? Yes. So you did throw up?
I did throw up. It was strawberry boost all over the Cook Pavilion.
gross. Oh my God.
Or those, it was strawberry boost, protein shake all over the Cook Pavilion field. Yeah.
But after the end of the workout, they blew the whistle and said, "Get on the line."
Yeah, we thought we were done.
We thought we were done. We just ran straight gassers.
Right.
So going back to Barrett Ruud, week 2. They still didn't like the numbers. So that Tuesday, we were going even harder because more people showed up on Monday than they thought they would.
Right.
And Barrett, I'll never forget this, he took a bullet. And we got to Coach Cosgrove, who was the D coordinator, as everyone knows. Kind of, you call it that. And then the linebackers coach. And when Barrett was the leader of our drills.
Right.
And Barrett would purposely mess up the drill and pretend not to understand it to give us a break. He was fine with his 6-pack.
Right. Well, I mean,
But we struggled, so he purposely messed the drill up and had Coach Cosgrove explain it to us, so the guys would get a break.
That's a very veteran savvy.
What a hero! What do you do? Cut Barrett Ruud?
Right.
Get out
That's
here.
very, very. God dang, I didn't know that. I should have thought of that.
Smart man.
Yeah, it was. But here's the thing. That wasn't it. You saw so you did that. You went to class and you saw to get your lift in, and it wasn't like some light. Let's knock the lactic acid out. No, it was like
it was hard.
405 for 8 squat, 4 sets of 8. No, it's like you were like Coach K was he
knew what he was doing.
Oh yeah.
But in that 2-week period, it was almost impossible. I mean, your legs were already done.
Yeah.
By the time you got to your first class at 8:30 and 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And then by the time you got there at 2:30, 3 o'clock, you were dead.
Yeah.
You didn't want to be there.
I hated to go to bed knowing that what I was coming. I'm like, you're wiped by 7:38. And you're like, how the hell do you? The thing is, you're in the spring, and usually most of us took a harder, bigger course load in the spring because you have to worry about the fall or traveling with football and just handling all that. So you're trying to still get some classwork and do it halfway decent so you can stay eligible, but you're like, can't even keep your eyes open at 7:30 because you got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, get your ass over to the stadium to tape. I mean, it was
plus classwork.
Yeah, it was
doing all that. I mean, it was really unheard of. And this is a great story. And we're in the dorms. Me and Big Sean Hill played tight end. And 2 doors down there were these kids. They were just kind of the musician type kids. And at like 10 o'clock at night, they'd get on their electric guitar and play. And no one really cared except us, who were trying to go to bed at 9.
Right.
So I'll never forget. Me and Sean knocked on their door. And we were still in our boxers because we were in bed. They opened the door. I said, hey, guys, I don't mind the music, but let me tell you what I'm going through right now. If I hear one effing guitar playing, I'm going to smash it. And this guy's going to eat you. I don't even know how to tell you what. And they cut that crap off immediately.
It's like, guys, give us, hey, in like 2 weeks,
I'll be in here
with
you.
Right,
I'll be in here with you.
We'll be crushing beers, but like, yeah, I mean, that was what I always say that, and then the spring ball going into my junior year. So not that first spring that he was there, it was the next spring.
Yep.
And he, it was, we're doing the Oklahoma drill
every day,
bull in the ring, whatever you want to call it.
Poor Josh Mueller having to go against you and then go against Carricker nonstop.
Josh deserves it.
that's true.
And then we go to the scrimmage that afternoon. It was a Saturday scrimmage, and it was 170, 60, 70, maybe 200. I don't know, 200 plays that we went through, and it wasn't like, okay, the ones kind of got the reps. Let's give the younger guys. No, it was the ones getting all the reps, and it was because the defense was kicking the hell out of the offense's ass.
And that's why Callahan
he would just be like, give me the ones. Give me the ones. I remember Kaz finally being like, we're off script. And he's like,
he was at least trying to sub guys in.
Right, but he's like, I don't know, like, we're off the script. Like, we're supposed to be done. He's like, we're supposed to be done like 40 plays ago.
Yeah.
But Callahan just said, F you guys, like, my offense is getting this right until I get it right. And
that's a big negative about having an offensive-minded coach. And I mean, I never went and had a defensive-minded head coach.
No.
But it was all based around the offense. And that was Callahan's passion. He was good at it.
Right.
I mean, he was good at it. But at the expense of my ass, I'm not going to stay out there for 400 plays.
Dude, it was brutal. I mean, it was fun. It was fun because we beat the shit out of them. They couldn't piss a drop for the whole scrimmage. But I'm just like, it was just like, damn, like, he wasn't playing. Like, I think I just told Jason in the podcast I got to record with him, I go, I know he gets the negative because of what happened. I know people want to forget what happened with him being here, but like, because people are like, we got to get back to being physical and, mentally tough. And he tried doing that. I'll give him credit.
Absolutely.
He tried 100% doing that. It just came down to the fact that his offense was square peg, round hole with what we had here.
Absolutely.
He didn't have enough time.
Absolutely. And when he started to start pieces, 06,
right.
05, 06, we started producing wins. And then you left in 07 and screwed everything up.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess we can.
We could have found you some eligibility.
I was on with Schmitty, who does the Hail Varsity radio show, and I can't remember how we got in this topic, but it was that comes up, and like, if something happens in 07, what could have turned that season around? Like, I go, I don't know what.
06, 07?
No, 07, your senior year, where the wheels fell off.
Oh yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
and we can get to that season more because I kind of want to go there because you obviously that was your senior year and I wasn't there anymore. But I go, and not to pat myself on the back, but I go, I don't know of any team that loses 4 starters at the defensive line that comes in that can play the very next year in.
Oh yeah.
In
not with there was all NFL talent.
Reduplicate what and replace that. I mean, we had okay depth. I mean, we had freaking Ndamukong Suh there, but it wasn't the same Suh.
Suh wasn't that player yet. Potter, he was a one gap player.
Right. But like you had Zach Potter was good. Ty Seinkler was good, but like those guys, they're young, but they didn't play. I mean, they played maybe 10 to 20 snaps a game, if that.
Right.
So all of a sudden you throw those guys in the mix where they got to play for 40, 50, 60 plays a game, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, things change, and all of a sudden you, Lance Brandenburg, everybody's like, okay, this is a little different now. Like, I'm not as protected. I'm running for my life.
Right. And here, let me give you a timeline onto what led up to that defensive season. First, it was the spring ball before. So we started doing this procedure where Callahan at the team meeting before every day would put up the rep chart. And the rep chart was just dominated by every senior, every returning starter. And what do you use spring ball for, Jay?
To develop.
Develop depth and to develop your younger players.
Right.
Just like, you got to do and I got to do early on. I mean, I remember my first spring season, and I was getting reps, feeling good. I mean, I earned a starting spot in spring. Mm-hmm. So when you look at that in terms of me and Barrett Ruud looking at each other, sitting next to each other, looking at this and looking that we've got 180 reps more than the next number 2 on the depth chart.
Right.
That's not right.
Right.
We were so burned out after that spring. It was a battle. And at the end of the day, when you look at the production that came on the field, we went from an under defense.
You guys switched
to an over.
You went back,
which was bad. It was a bad idea.
We were
at the
really
time.
good under. Because we got when college first got there in 2004, we were an over. Then we switched to an under my senior year. But I didn't realize that when I sat down and did this with Bo. He goes, "We switched." I had no idea you guys switched.
Oh, it completely.
I'm like, you guys went back to an over. I mean, what the like? It's like, I mean, maybe they're trying to think because we don't have. Let's be honest. If you don't have playing that under defense, you got to have a guy like Adam Carricker play that spot.
Exactly.
You have to have a guy
like you who can take the weak side and be versatile.
Sure.
But if you move to an over, you put all the pressure, more pressure on the D line. Mm-hmm. You really do. And if you're not doing a 2-gap scheme, which we weren't, I mean, you talk about Ndamukong Suh. What a monster! He went down and he's in the All-Decade team in the NFL. But he was in a 1-gap defense then. So for people out there who don't know that, a 1-gap defense is, hey, I've got this in between the center and the guard. That is my responsibility. I don't care what happens anywhere else. In a 2-gap defense, you give a guy like Sue or you or Carricker or McKeon, who was a stud.
Titus Adams
was a stud.
Barry Cryer was good.
Cryer. When you give him a 2-gap responsibility, you let them use their talents. Hey, Sue, blow this guy up, hold on to him, and when you see the running back, just throw him because you've got biceps the size of Hulk Hogan's, and then make the tackle.
Right.
But when you play a gap defense like we did in an over, if you don't have the D-line like you guys, we should have played an over. I mean, we really could have been really good.
But let's be honest. I mean, AC was in a 2-gap. But I mean, we were all 1-gap type of guys. But there's also you can be stout at the point of attack to read up blocks and play and know where you need to fit and how things play out. But also, it's just when. It's hard to explain without like a chalkboard and like a whiteboard and laser. Showing, right. But it's so hard to explain because like you can say I got my gap taken care of, but it's like what does that really mean? Because you can say technically you do, but it could be you
could be driven to the sideline and you're holding your gap.
Right. Yeah, I'm not getting reached. My gap's thinking not
still,
really.
You've got other responsibilities.
Right, not really. You gotta set the edge. You gotta. So you still got to get off a block, but it's the dynamic. I mean, and I forget that Coach Blake leaves.
That was a big man.
Leaves after the Big 12 championship game. He's not there for the bowl game. The guy comes from Alabama, Buddy Wyatt comes in, and he's thinking okay, I got
4 new starters,
feeling like what the hell did I get myself into?
Right.
But yeah, I just don't know. Like it was, the dominoes were like set up to fall. Like it's just you guys weren't set up to succeed defensively, and I just don't know what could have been done. Just because you guys were so young and inexperienced up front, and like if there's one spot you cannot be young and experienced is your D-line spot. You can't. It's hard.
Let's be honest. Like I love Coach Cosgrove, but the game plans we put together weren't for the talent that we had.
Right.
And if you want a good comparison, look at our squad in 2004. Look at all the NFL talent that we had, and we really couldn't stop anybody.
No.
And I'm talking, we had NFL players almost at every single position.
We could go through. I mean, you go down the line.
Plus a good-looking guy just standing on the sidelines for emotional support.
But you go down the line. I mean, you have, Barrett, Josh Bullocks, Daniel Bullocks, Fabian. I mean, you just go and then
McPherson. He was a good player. Ricketts was a good player.
Was Ricketts? I don't think Ricketts was there in 04. Pat Ricketts, I think he had just left.
You may be right.
But anyways, McKeon, Titus, myself, Adam, Bernard Thomas.
Yeah.
Like,
and he was a good player.
Ira Cooper.
Good player.
Was good. Like, and it's just I recorded one with Stu Bradley last week, and
best hair in the game.
Yeah. He's getting the flows because no one can get a goddamn haircut in this country right now. But he's like I thought he was a pretty smart football player until I went to NFL, and like the information that we didn't know and like what was missing. Like he goes, we never really knew the why of what we were doing.
Correct.
And like why why are they trying to do this to us? And we were just like, you knew your rules, we knew our responsibilities, we did a pretty damn good job of doing that. But sometimes you're just like, you just kind of knew your job,
right?
And you just didn't know, like, and again, it's hard, you can't cover everything. But he said the biggest thing is like, once you got to NFL was, they tell you there's no perfect defense.
No,
there's not a perfect.
It's a chess game.
Yeah.
Am I calling the right play when you're calling the wrong defense?
Right, and you're trying to limit what they're really good at. Let's limit that. We might have to give up a little here to take away this strong, this potent side of their offense. And like we just didn't. Didn't understand that. And I think it could have been, but it's just. I love Coach Cos to death. I haven't talked to him since I left, or since he's left, but. It's just interesting to see what could have been, what I know now, and
right.
what we like. It's like, man, we could have some things we could have done. I mean,
2006, we could have been in the national championship conversation.
We underachieved. I mean, we played USC that year, but like USC was really, really good. I mean, offense.
And people criticize Callahan about that game all the time, but when you understand that was the number one team in the country, and what we were trying to do was not make mistakes. When you play high talent, high athletic teams, you can't make mistakes. Mm-hmm. I was happy handing the ball off to our four horsemen.
Right.
We had Cody Glenn, who didn't get enough carries in my book his whole year. But Marlon Lucky, we had
Brandon Jackson,
who was a stud. And what Callahan wanted to do was run him down, and then give Zach Taylor an opening through scheme to make a few passes. And we were in that game.
Right.
I mean, they scored late to go up, I think, 2 or 2.5 scores, but we were in that game.
They didn't do much against offensively. Like we played. I mean, that year we were pretty damn good. We were really good,
but they were really good.
No, I mean, they had
two D1 or first rounder receivers.
They had. I mean, I'm just looking. Yeah, I mean, they had wide receivers, running backs, O-linemen. I mean, they all went first round.
Well, did you see their linebackers? Rivers and Manaluga and Clay Matthews.
Yep. And what's the kid out of Jersey? Brian. He played with the Texans for a long time. He was there too.
Big run guy.
Yeah. But secondary. Yeah. D-line, Cedric Ellis. I mean, they were
Taylor Mays.
Yeah. The teams are those USC teams in the
I felt like
early
we did
2000s.
pretty well out there, and we're a handful of plays away of bringing that down.
If we could get some help from the offense, I mean, they couldn't do anything. The only time we got some points was off a fake punt, and I think we went for it on 4th down to get like a Zach booted in. But I always said that, and I've said it many times, and I apologize to people, but they've heard me say this numerous times on this pod that we underachieved in 06.
Right. And we shouldn't have lost to Oklahoma State.
And shouldn't have lost to Texas.
Shouldn't have lost. I mean, that was that was a bad roll.
Right.
Shouldn't have lost. Well, that was 05. That Texas
still hurts.
Still in my head. Look, I'm looking for you, buddy. Yeah. Apology in my inbox, please. Just kidding. No, but go back to 07. I mean, the big thing, Jay, wasn't even our defense. I mean, we started Sam Keller because it was Coach Callahan's dream quarterback. And Joey G should have been playing. And there was just an article in the paper about Joey G not getting that starting job. Yeah. And I joked with him. I sent him a text. I just said, hey, it's probably my fault you get that starting job because I picked you up 2 times in fall camp. But if we put Joey Gans in that equation, I think we have a different season altogether.
Yeah, I got into this with Bo, too, and I said that's my senior year when Sam was our scout team quarterback, and I'd get back there and
he was good.
He was. Yeah, he was okay. I mean, he was. That's what I said. I can't remember who I was talking to. Maybe it was Stu, but Callahan had an infatuation with like your prototypical NFL pocket passers.
And that's 6'4.5".
He had a hard on for him, like
quick release.
Right.
I mean, that's exactly what he wanted.
Right.
He's an NFL coach who
Right.
had an NFL
I
quarterback.
get it. But it's like, but Joey had that. He had that swag. He had that Chicago toughness about him. Like, and that's
good looking. I mean, like all Chicagoans are.
I won't go that far. I think the whiskey's talking now. So, but no, the story I was getting to was in practice I would swat the ball out of Keller's hand and get back there, and Keller would get pissed, and I'd tell him to go, F himself, and you're a scout team quarterback, and then I remember Cosme like, hey, like you can't, he's gonna be the quarterback next year. I'm like, really? Like you're gifting that, or like you're gifting that?
He's a really good scout team quarterback, but maybe as a starter.
And hey, Sam, thanks for the check you got me for the NCAA video game thing situation. Much appreciated. Hey, very much appreciated.
That is very true.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just interesting I mean, let's be honest. Okay, if Joe starts, how much different? Because you guys struggled defensively. Like after that USC game, you guys were like,
it was bad,
out of sorts.
So we first played Ball State.
Right.
And they actually had a good quarter.
Right.
They had a good squad.
Yeah, because God, what was his name? Because when I was with the 49ers, they drafted him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but he was good.
Yeah,
mobile quarterback.
Really, yeah.
But our game plan for that game was over 56. I mean, we didn't do anything because we were playing for the next. So they almost beat us.
Right.
They miss a field goal.
Yeah.
To not beat us. But and people don't understand is
but
that stuff happens. The day the overlooking teams happen.
You played Nevada first. You guys smoked Nevada.
Well, we went to Ball State, and then we had USC our third game.
But no,
Ball State came in. We barely beat them.
When did you guys? I thought you opened the season in Nevada in 07.
Yeah. We had like Nicholls State.
No, it was
that 06.
Why am I remembering this better than actual games you played?
More concussions. More whiskey.
Right. No, you opened Nevada because then I was Nevada because then you went to Wake Forest.
We won.
You came back from
home for Ball State.
Yeah.
We barely beat Ball State, and our game plan was literally base defense.
Right.
Because we were preparing for USC.
Yeah.
But people don't understand. You do that shit.
Oh yeah.
And you lose games. Mm-hmm. That was dumb. Yeah. We shouldn't have done that. So USC comes in and they just throttled us. And that's when we really started taking a look at what was wrong. And we've had a lot of gaps in the defense. We had a very young squad. I mean, one of my favorite stories is sitting across from Bo Ruud in the meeting room getting our game plan for the Kansas game. Now, granted, Kansas went to the Orange Bowl that year. They were really good. But I look at him. We stare at each other from across the table. I go, "We're gonna get killed." I mouthed it to him. And he goes, "Oh yeah." We actually had Grigsby, 5'5", 190 pounds. Who was essentially lined up as a Sam linebacker in that game. And the funniest story, which I tell everybody, is we're sitting there and we're on the goal line. They're like 3rd and 8 on the goal line. It's only like the second drive of the game. We had stopped them and we had gone down and scored to go up 7-up before the floodgates opened. And Larry Asante, who's a good player, he turned over, and I made all the checks on the defense. No one was audibling but me. That was very clear. And he had started screaming, check special, check special, check special. I turn around and look at him. I go, we don't have a check special. Right. That was from a game plan from 3 weeks ago.
Right.
And it was an easy, quick slam for a touchdown right on Larry. And I looked at Bo and I go, we're in deep here.
Right. Was he right? If you guys might have checked the special, would that have helped in that call?
No, it didn't even make sense.
Right? Just curious, because sometimes I was trying to give Larry some credit there, but
And what people don't realize is you sit there and to the game plan you get graded, right? Whether the answers are right or wrong,
right?
You are getting graded on whether you did your job. Mm-hmm. And a lot of us, like our linebackers particularly, because those are the medians I was in, we were grading out 94 to 98%. We were doing things right, but the game plan was wrong.
Right.
So, hey, Corey, great job being in your gap and being over here, except the play was going way over here.
Right.
And that's where you start getting scores run out.
Well, I think the hard part is I think everyone had a little bit of, and I guess correct me if I'm wrong, I think everyone gets a little sticker shock after the USC game. And it's like, whoa, like, because that was game day's there, Will Ferrell's there, like, you know, it's
absolutely.
It's like, but you get, I mean, you go home with your tail between your legs because you got your asses, but that's like, holy, you got to like, damn, like, and you don't even think about the Ball State game, like, because that was a damn close game, but you focus on these two at USC, but it's amazing, you know, confidence. I mean, it's like money. It's easy. It's hard totally to get, but easy to lose.
Exactly.
You know,
right.
and also like, whoa, you know, you just like Bo said, he's like, you know, he's like they're asking him to do some different stuff in that defense, like, and what he thought it was and wasn't. It's like it was like they were trying to make.
They were making big moves, right? They're trying really wasn't necessary. The overcorrection.
Yeah, it's like, what are they? I don't know. It's one of the oddest things because I left in 2006. I'm like, you know, I'm thinking they're in good shape. I'm like, what in the?
Well, it was bad. Sorry about that, first of all. Think about how we came out of that 06 USC at USC. We felt like we competed. Mm-hmm. We knew how good they were. Number one. I mean, they were unbelievably talented team. We felt like we competed in it. We had some balls. Mm-hmm. And then we came out of that game at home against USC, and people just shut it down. Yeah. And and I look back on our schedule. And we tried. I mean, we really tried, but we had a tough schedule. There was an article written about where those teams ended up that we played in 07, which made me feel not much better, but a little bit better. Yeah. But the one stat to me that really stuck out is we played K-State, who is ranked at home, senior day.
Right.
They went out and started. I mean, at this point, Callahan knows he's gone.
Right.
All the staff knows they're gone. They play the seniors. They start the seniors, and we kill them. And that really kind of reflected on how our season went after that USC game. The underclassmen. And what people don't know is, like, Callahan, they knew they were gone halfway through the year.
Could you tell? Could you get a sense from the staff?
Oh, from the staff, the players. I mean, the underclassmen, and I'm not going to call anybody out, but there was guys that ended up being superstars the next year that just kind of, I'm not wasting my time on this season. But then you put all the seniors in who were willing to go balls to the wall, and we ended up killing K-State, a ranked opponent coming into town. Josh Freeman, who was good, really good at that time.
Was committed to Nebraska, then obviously.
Yeah, he's dead to me. Yeah. But I remember hitting him 06 before I got hurt. I remember hitting him full on a blitz, full go. I go, oh, this guy's dead. And I smoked him. I got up, and the guy barely moved. Yeah, the guy was like 270 pounds.
Big as shit.
I popped him, and I'm like, oh, shit. Am I a pussy, or is he really tough? Both.
No, he was. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I mean,
he was a big son of a bitch. What? You remember?
Yeah, no, he was huge. I got him once. I got a sack. Yeah, I might have got two. I can't remember. I mean, that's wild. I mean, I talked with Bo, and I think got you and just other guys, how that 1 year, because it's amazing, because like you had a really good junior year.
Sophomore year was even better.
Yeah. Bo had a really good junior year. Then all of a sudden this happens, the 07, you don't get drafted.
Right.
Bo gets knocked down to the 6th round.
Oh, it's big.
And it's amazing what you have one bad year and people are like, whoa, what happened? Like, cause because people, and you go back and that people, because I always stand up for you, Bo, guys that played in the 07, because it's that 07 year, people want to throw shit at that team. Like, listen, like,
or the whole
because
coaching staff throughout like, those 4 years.
Like, there's some they can play now. Like, you don't get enough credit. Bo doesn't get enough credit. Like, there's a lot of players that don't get enough credit. But it's like, it just sucks because you deserved a better shot, to play more. But it's just you have to deal with that stuff. It hurts.
Reality.
Like, it is reality. It's 100% reality because you probably you went from a draft pick to being undrafted.
Oh, absolutely.
You guys go. You guys only played 11 games that year in 07.
If we would have made it to any kind the Big 10 or the Big 12 championship, we would have had 12 game season.
See, that's weird. Okay, so but anyways, you guys go 7-5 that year and playing a bowl game. Like,
maybe we don't have this conversation.
You don't have the conversation, but like you have, you don't. Like it's just wild. I mean, shit happens for a reason. That's the way the cookie crumbles. But it's.
I went and did, and I had ironically a sports psychology class during our normal press conference day. So I could never make it to the press conferences that year. So everyone thought I was ducking it. Well, the truth of the matter is, I finally said, I went to my sports psychology teacher. He said, hey, you just say what's on your mind. I think people are going to listen to you. Well, that was a bad idea.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Because all I did was come in and say, hey, we're grinding. We're trying our best here. These players are trying their best. We support our coaching staff, which is what you're supposed to say, what you're supposed to do.
Right.
And, everyone was against the coaching staff at that point. Right. So that press conference will always just be tarnished my name. But, I don't regret it. I feel like I came into every practice, and I was banged up a lot. Remember that K-State game we were just talking about? I got cut from behind, shredded my ankle. I should never have played on it. We ended up losing to Okie State because I can't play. I mean, I put that loss on my shoulder. I tried, and I was so garbage, and I could have cost us the game. I don't know. That was a trap game. That was between two tough teams.
Yeah,
that was one that I really regret.
But we got up like 21-7. We just offense that year. Like I've gone back and watched some games and like just kind of bored at night and pulled them up YouTube, and it's like we had like a habit that year offensively. We got a really good start in the first half, then offense disappears completely.
Yeah. Hey, defense, you take it from here.
And they did like A&M. We're up like 21-3 at half, and then we end up winning 20. The only touchdown we scored in the second half is Mo Purify's touchdown.
Game winner.
Right.
Unbelievable play.
I don't know what we scored in the same deal Oklahoma State game. Just situations like that. I mean, Zach Taylor is.
I'm refilling my drink, by the way.
Give me a little. Top me off a little bit.
There you go.
Appreciate that. Yeah, we can't, Nick Baugh and Barrett Ruud, their wine pods, got nothing on our whiskey pods.
Jeez. At least they're not slurring at the end.
Right. No, but it's, you just look at it and
hindsight's 20/20.
It is. I mean, I'm always being a Nebraska kid and growing up and, loving, watching everything and idolizing people, and then kind of our time, it drives me nuts that some people are just like,
I know.
That time frame's like I always say Men in Black, like,
yeah,
I don't want to forget it.
They blank us out.
Right. And it's like, it drives, I just want to tell them, you know what, mother, like,
come play for that.
Yeah,
come be there.
But it is what it is. Like, it's.
So what do you think now about like how the team's doing now? I mean, this is a couple years of struggling.
Yeah, listen, it's hard. I mean, this you could dedicate another whole podcast to this. And I haven't really, since I've been doing the pod, I haven't got into a ton. Just, Schmitty and I on Hail Varsity Radio have talked a little bit. Just he gets, my thoughts, every other week or something like that. But I don't think Scott knew. People, what he got. It wasn't a great situation when he came here. Obviously, it's taken a lot longer than he wanted to. You have to, for as much as you focus on, okay, let's get all these guys into Frost's offense.
It's the same deal as when we transitioned. There's not the players for it yet.
Where I was going with it is, you could get the best. Adrian Martinez is 100% healthy. You can get the best running back. You can have, the best wide receivers. You can have the best secondary. You can have really good linebackers. But if you are not really freaking good up front on both sides of the ball,
matter.
You're gonna be shit.
Doesn't matter.
You're not gonna be shit.
How many screen passes can you fuck?
You're not gonna be. You're not gonna.
Can I swear in this?
Yeah, I've said yeah. I just need, people have got to understand that, because people get so excited about, we got so and so, this wide receiver. We got this so and so, this running back.
How do you get him the ball? How do you get him the ball in the right scheme?
Doesn't matter.
That's right.
And getting O-line recruits and getting D-line recruits aren't as sexy because what's sexy about running back and wide receiver recruits is they're able to play right away.
So hindsight's 2020. So if you think back in all the national championship years, all the really dominant years, what was dominant?
O-line and D-lines.
O-line. They call it the pipeline.
Yeah, you're right.
And
but
if you could do that, you could put you and me back there at our ages, which I won't say.
Right.
We can get yards on people, but that's what you need to win.
T-Phrase and LP aren't what they are without Brendan Stye, Zach Wiegert, Rob Zadiska. The defenses aren't great without Jay Foreman. Doesn't have the career he has without Jason Peter.
That's right.
And Grant Wistrom, and it's
just that's what I tell people. I don't have the career that I had, even though it's been blanked from people's memories. Without right. you, without Carricker, without LaKeven, without Titus,
sure,
without Sue.
Right, but that's they don't have those pieces. And what people have got to understand about is it takes time to develop those people. I needed 2 to 3 years to get to where I was.
That's right.
It's rare that you have a guy like Matt Slauson come in and play right away, and have him.
Who's a monster,
right?
Who's back in town?
He is. Who swings a nice golf club, by the way.
I'll whoop him.
Yeah.
He's my partner in the Firethorn Cup, so nice. I shouldn't say that.
Yeah. It's just it takes time to develop that. Now they're going to be. You're going to get. It's now going into year 3, and I pray to
coronavirus,
all the football gods in the world that we're playing football this fall, because I don't know what the hell it's going to go. I mean, if that doesn't happen,
positive thinking,
right? But you have a lot of guys that played this line. I mean, everybody on the line's back.
That's huge.
It's huge. You got everyone on the D line. Now it's gonna be interesting because they lose. I mean, you lose the Daniels, you lose both Davis brothers, you lose some guy, but you have some other guys, Stilly, and it's gonna be. But you have your core of your team has to be developed along the front 5 off the line, and those 4 guys.
It's dominoes, Jay.
But if you don't,
the front doesn't work. The second layer, the linebackers don't work. The running backs don't work, and then the third layer, the wide receivers, and the DBs.
It's so simple, and I just want that's as easy as I can put it. There's no magic potion for it. There isn't. It takes time to develop those positions to get it where you want it. It just is
100% right. And here's a story. My dad, who was a head football coach for 20-some years in Chicago, and he's in the Illinois Football Hall of Fame. And we lined up against a team, one of our rivals in the conference, and we ran the same damn play down the field, 57 power. Mike Constantino's running it. I'm blocking my ass off instead of getting the ball all the way downfield. And I came up to him, I go, Dad, why do you keep running 57 power? He said, well, because they can't stop it. I go, yeah, but I'm not getting any carries here. I'm not getting any snaps.
Come on, Dad.
Come on. I mean, this guy's bloody. I'm putting him in the ground, but come on. And he'll run the same. It's not sexy,
right.
But you can run the same exact play over and over if they don't stop it.
Right.
You need to get to that talent type level.
That's where it was. I mean, where it was when it was great. I mean,
exactly. No one could compete with you. There's nothing you could do. And I think we'll get there with Frost. I really think we'll get there with Frost.
I'm zero concern here. It's just, it's just a little different now. I think as we're sitting in your basement and there's a guy literally cross country skiing. Your neighbor's cross country skiing as it's April 16th. Folks,
hey, it's quarantine. Anyway, you want to get your workout in, Jay. Get your workout in.
We've seen it all right now, Q. But it's just. As much as you like to think football changed, the kids changed, whatever, football hasn't changed, man. It's one up front. It's just going to take time. So I have the utmost confidence it's going to get done. We got former teammates that are coaching. You got people there that care a lot about the program.
The program's in great shape.
It's in great shape. The new facilities coming, and hopefully, with all this coronavirus stuff going on, it doesn't take too big of a hit to delay it.
Right.
But I am.
So here's my thought.
Very happy.
Here's my thought. Defensively, what I want to see is us start to be taking away one dimension. I don't want to see stat lines where they're getting 225 yards rushing and another 225 yards passing. Let's be more decisive and make that more of a strategy. Offensively, I mean, injury prone. We've got an offensive line coming back, but Martinez is going to be he's gunshot. He took a shot in the nuts at some point, and it's made him a little gunshot. He's got to get over that. And you got to really develop an offense around him. I think of like Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football. Yeah. Everything evolved around him, and he had the talent to do it. And I really think Martinez has the talent to do it, but he's got to have the nutsack to do it.
Yeah.
Is he going to have that nutsack coming in this year? Is the question.
He's going to get a little bit of protection of his line. He's not worrying about snaps going over his head.
Robinson's healthy.
Right. Yep.
What's Spielman's deal?
Brother.
It's too cold to practice. And the mother effers from northern Minnesota, right. Get out of here with that bullshit.
I've heard that stuff. I mean, I heard that story too. I mean, guys
put him through the 2 weeks of hell, Jay.
Right.
Let's see who's
guys are literally complaining about going outside and practicing because it's too cold. If that's the case, then this program has a lot bigger issues than O-line and D-line stuff. I mean, you got some guys like, oh boy,
it's not the case. Everyone cross your fingers. That's
right.
Not the case.
Yeah, that's some wild times. All right, Q. We've been going for an hour. I got to wrap up. We'll wrap up here with my 3 and out questions.
Do it.
One concert to go to. One concert to see the rest of your life. It could be a band, a solo guy, living or dead. Who's that one concert you're going to?
Do I have to know who I'm going to, or it could be someone I want to go to that I haven't?
No. You can see them, or you have one concert, and it can be dead or alive that you're going to see. Who's that person? A band.
If they're still drugged up and moving, the Rolling Stones is where you gotta go. I mean, if they can
that's the first time I heard the Stones.
If they could put one more out, I'll be there.
Okay. I was gonna say, but they can be. They don't have to be alive either. Ugh. So like Stu said, Bob Marley opening for the Beatles.
What a Stu Bradley answer. Unbelievable.
Right.
Dead or alive. I mean, I want to be realistic here. I mean, the Stones would be unbelievably good.
Yeah.
One more shot. The Stones.
Yeah. Okay. So we're at back in our day, Wednesday night, Red Fox, Westo, karaoke night. There's one song that Corey McKeon has to sing perfectly, can't mess up the lyrics. What's that song?
I mean,
is it a Stones song? Is it Beast of Burden?
If you want to drag down the feel of the bar, you do Beast of Burden.
Okay,
but I think you have to sing
it perfectly though. You can't mess up one single lyric.
I do everything perfectly. So it's not a problem. But I think what you need to go to, it keeps the mojo going. It keeps the bar happy. It keeps the shots coming. You go Tom Petty, Don't Do Me Like That.
Oh.
And
that's a good one.
That's a great one.
Yeah,
it's a good one. It's a great one. And that one will keep the bar going. The lyrics aren't hard.
Yeah.
You don't need the hardcore vocals. And the 9 people that are smoking J's in the joint, they really appreciate it too.
Love it. Oh, that's a good one. Okay, so you're gonna get a kick out of this one just because you're a movie junkie. Here's a movie made about Corey McKeon. Who plays Corey McKeon?
Oh my God, is there someone that good looking? God, honestly, after that comment, saying Chris Hemsworth is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Me and Chris have a lot of qualities: the biceps, the erratic facial hair, the fantastic mop on top of our heads. It's got to be Chris Hemsworth. If he can get my accent right, the Chicago accent.
Okay.
If he can go up to Wisconsin for 3 days, he could really fill in and do it right. I think I'm like a foot taller than him though. So
you probably are. Those actors are like super short and
you look like giants.
I know. All right, that's it, boys. Corey. Cheers, my man.
Brother.
Thanks,
always a pleasure.
Thanks, guys. That was fun.
Beat you at golf whenever you want.
Yep. That's it, boy. That was Corey McKeon, Naperville's finest. That's another pod, another More To It pod with Hail Varsity Magazine, hailvarsity.com. See you guys.